What would you say is the best way to just get started if you want to become a real estate agent in South Florida?
First and foremost, find somebody that knows what they're doing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have to mimic it. You can have your own spin and your own flavor, but you need to follow in someone's footsteps that has a proven record of success so that you're not starting from scratch. You have ingredients. You have a recipe, and you'll have the same outcome. You know, you can even have a better outcome, especially today, because all you guys say, you guys as millennials, younger people than me, I thought I was good at computers, and I'm not good at computers anymore. Computers got better. But you guys are hip on social media, and you know how to communicate better on the different forms of communication. I had a beeper in high school, right? So now there's just so many more things. So I'd say that you guys are at an advantage, and where I've had to constantly learn and embrace technology and adapt. Like, we were using fax machines when I got into the business. My dad had the ERA, Electronic Realty Associates, which were cutting edge because they were the first real estate company to use a fax machine.
Wow.
Right? So now everything is paperless and digital, and it's crazy. But you guys are at an advantage. And I say, if you want to get into real estate, first you're going to have to eat dirt. You're going to have to do some grunt work. You're going to have to prove your stripes. You don't walk into this business at the top. And if you do, you're not going to last. You're going to get knocked down quick because you didn't set yourself up with a good foundation. You have to have a good foundation. Like, a plane can't take off unless it gets a head start, unless it starts revving the engines, starts burning some fuel, and then starts taking off. You don't just elevate. And that grunt work will be helping out another agent or a broker and being coachable and being trainable. You have to be able to listen, take feedback. You're not born knowing everything. Like, if you want to be a good baseball player, you got to pick up a bat and you got to swing it a couple of times. You got to practice. And so with real estate, it has a psychological portion to it because you're dealing with people. How to read people. How to know when they like something. How to know when they don't like something. Like I always say, you're with clients and you're going into a house and they don't even touch the walls, which today with COVID you're not supposed to anyway, but if they don't even touch the walls, they don't like it. But if they walk in and they're like, look at this. And, you know what, I would put this there. They like the house. Stop talking, right? Don't get in the way. And so that's part of it. So it's learning, not only know your product, whether you're selling condos or houses, know your areas, know your products, and then know how to read your people. And know how to help them along the way, because a lot of people are scared and intimidated by the process of buying and selling real estate. And so you have to hold their hand and be able to explain everything from start to finish, because it is an intimidating process. And that's why I say, they can teach you all those things in school. You don't really learn it until you're in the field and you're dealing with people. There's a difference between book smarts and street smarts, and real estate is much more street smarts. But you need to know how to use a calculator and do a little bit of math, check comps, and all these different things. There is an intellectual a component to it, but a lot of it is dealing with people.
I feel that because the test, for example, what is it? The test is law. It's real estate law and the chapters on
the test is trying to fail you. We have too many realtors as it is. They need to make it harder.
Right.
But too many realtors who live the same year over and over again. I've met some realtors that have been in the business 10, 15, 20, 30 years, but they could be there for 1 year. They're living the same year over and over again. That's why they think they have a lot of that continuing education, which is important. You need to be able to adapt and grow and learn. And like I said, deal with people. That's really the most important thing. Be empathetic.
So the successful agents that you've seen or you've worked with, what industries do you see them come from, or what backgrounds really, maybe prior to joining real estate?
I've seen some really good agents that were in the luxury sales, like Gucci and all those different stores. They know how to deal with people. It's very retail, right? It's a very people-oriented thing, and you need to know your product. So they're basically just taking that into something that is of a higher value. If you want to make more money, sell something that's worth more. And so you go from selling handbags or shoes to houses and mansions, you're going to have a different kind of lifestyle. That, I think, works. Sales. But the type of sales that a real estate agent will do is not high pressure cars. You're not selling a car, right? You're not act now or it will be gone. No, it's a house. You're not just convincing somebody to sign a contract. You're holding their hand and helping them throughout the process, which will be 30 to 45 days and sometimes 60 days. So even if you get somebody to sign the contract, are they going to close? So reading their body language, knowing what they want, listening to them, and all that goes into it, and to really help somebody make this purchase. So I always say, I don't sell houses, I help people buy or I help people sell. It's something that they want to do anyway. I'm just making the process smoother.
I know that a lot of people, they think that they're going to get in, they're going to make fast cash, I'm going to get somebody to sign. And it's not that easy, right? I mean,
no, it isn't. And even if you do make fast cash out the gate, you really need to know how to manage your money properly, because when you're a realtor, you do not have a guaranteed paycheck. This is a hustle and a grind. And sometimes you need to work with like 20 to 30 clients in order to close 3. It's a numbers game too. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of discipline that goes into it. A lot of discipline. It's not about having the flashy car or the fancy watch or this and that. If you need to look a certain way in order to have credibility, you do not have enough in here, enough know-how and product knowledge or intelligence or, just being able to deal with people to compensate for any of that. It doesn't matter what you look like. Tall, short, fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. It's how well you do your job, things that you know, listening, learning, and applying all those things in one.
Definitely, because there are those different types of clients who will be attracted to that specific agent, because they have that. But now, someone, they just passed their test, they're about to get licensed, it's kind of in that pending stage, and they need to hang it with somebody. They need to talk to brokers. There's always the brokers that are big on training. There's the brokers that
I wish there was brokers that were big on training. There really aren't any brokers that are big on training anymore.
How can a newer agent who just passed the test find a broker? What should they be looking out for?
So they should be looking at somebody that's going to be willing to teach them. But the reason why I said earlier there are not a lot of brokers out there that teach, that's because there could be a lot of turnover, because a lot of agents want to go in there and they want to find somebody that's going to give them 100%, 90% split. They want somebody that's going to give them everything and then some. Well, what's in it for me? If you think about it on the brokers and on the opposite end, if they're providing you leads, a place to work, business cards, clients, and they're not getting anything out of it, why do they want to train you? That's why I said when you're new, you got to eat a little dirt. You don't go in there looking for the 100% brokerage. You will be on a little island by yourself. No one has a reason to help you at all. It's a numbers game. That's when you join a real estate company that has over 1,000 agents. Mm-hmm. You're one of 1,000. You're insignificant.
Right.
You're better, I think, in the beginning is probably joining a smaller company that has a broker that's a little bit more hands-on, that is available. I can't be available, personally, I can't be available to 1,000 people, right? But if I have a solid core of 10 to 50, I can be available. And I think you probably want something like that. Now, if you need to make money right out the gate, because a lot of new agents get into the business broke, I'd say you're not going to last. Most agents last, on average, 6 months. And the average closings per new agent, per agent in general, because there are so many realtors, is 1 per year. You cannot survive. Now, and if you start doing this part-time, that is not necessarily going to work out because you need to be available. So I always say, as a new agent, go in there with low expenses. Don't overdo it, because you need to be able to sustain yourself to start closing deals. But then once you start closing deals, you're good. You're off. You're off to the races. Just don't blow your whole paycheck on a one vacation. And there's no vacations in the beginning. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
You need to be available. I always said when I was new in the business, if you don't have money, you need to have a really good pair of legs, because you got to go door to door. That was back in the day. Nowadays, you can't really do that so much. But then you got to make phone calls. Don't be a secret agent. People need to know what you do. But you also need to be competent in knowing your market before you start opening your mouth. Because these days, buyers are very knowledgeable. They're very educated. Everything's on the internet. Before 2015, we owned the MLS, and you had to go to a realtor to look at any property. Before there was internet, there was hot sheets delivered to real estate offices and all over that people would look at. That's how it was a hot sheet. It was literally a sheet of paper with the new properties that came on the market. We owned that data. Well, ever since 2015, that's all over the internet. So now you have clients that are educated. They've been looking at houses for a year sometimes, at least 90 days. And so when they're asking you questions, you need to know what you're talking about. And as a new agent, I would study your area, study your market, get to know the buildings in the area, get to know the neighborhoods, the houses, the complexes, the developers, get to know your product so that when you're talking to somebody, you can answer a question.
Okay, so knowing the product knowledge is huge.
Huge.
What about the idea of agents starting with rentals?
So that's quick and easy, and it is a good place to start, honestly, especially because a lot of rental communities will do a lot of the work for you. You really just have to bring your client. But it's faster money. I call it fast food, really. A rental is fast food because it's quick and easy. Find them the property, get the lease signed, make sure the application is done with the association, unless it's a rental community. They do all that over there, and then they move in and you collect your fee. And so if you do 4 or 5 rentals a week, you can make very good money.
Right.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of grind. I won't say don't do rentals because everybody needs a place to live, and that's a market that you need to nurture and take care of. But don't get dependent on rentals because you'll be working 80 hours a week and you can make more money with less headache doing sales. But you got to start somewhere. So start in the rentals. But that's when I'll go back to live within your means. You need to have a buffer. You need to have money in the bank for your marketing to get you through the thin times. You have to be able to sustain yourself because as a new agent, it's good to be hungry. But if you're starving, you make the wrong decisions. You work with the wrong people that aren't net ready right now or don't know what they want. And you spin your wheels. And that's why I see a lot of new agents burn out. And they think, it looks really good and it looks really easy on television. It's a lot harder than that. And so you have to really be able to sustain yourself in the business. And I think rentals is a great way of doing it. But again, don't live outside of your means or go into the business with debt because you're only going to get more debt. So you have to be prepared to get into the business. Move back home if you have to. Take a step back in order to take a step up. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And that's why I don't see any purpose a brand new agent going out and getting a luxury car with a lease payment and insurance and everything else that's going to be $1,000 or more and then renting an extremely expensive apartment and then not lasting. Because all you're going to have is bad credit.
So having a plan, getting set up with a broker who is there, local, is definitely big.
It can provide you some leads. In the beginning, you don't have a database of your own.
Right.
Like I've been doing this for 20 years, so I have thousands of clients that I have dealt with over the years, and I've kept in touch with them, so I get a lot of referral business. When you're new, you have to start with your friends and your family.
Right.
Eventually, you run out. Either they don't want to talk to you anymore, or they don't have anything to buy or sell. Or, like I said, they don't trust you yet because it is one of the largest investments you're going to make in your life. Do you want to be your nephew's first transaction? Or do you want to deal with somebody that has experience? Like I have family in Parkland. I am in Miami. I have sold properties in Parkland before, but when my sister wanted to sell her house in Parkland, I didn't list it for her. She listed it with a top agent in that area. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
She didn't need to do me a favor. And so you can't just depend on those favors. And so, as a new agent, you want to find a broker that can also provide you some leads. And I almost call it like wiffle ball. I'm tossing it up for you to swing and hit it, right? And so, that's what those leads are. And you're going to take a smaller cut on those, but you're learning. And then as you close more deals, your split goes up, and now you're not so much of a headache you're not a liability anymore. 'Cause as a brand new agent, you're walking around as a liability. You may say the wrong thing, or do the wrong thing, or sign, or not read your contract, or not understand your contract. So new agents are also liabilities. You have to take that into consideration. You need a broker that is going to have the patience to hold your hand and make sure you're doing things right, and potentially provide you some leads so you can get your feet wet and get going in the business. So you need a mentor. Really, you need a mentor, somebody you can look up to and ask questions of. I think that people forget that. Everybody wants to go it alone.
Right.
And no, there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's just the one you didn't ask. That's the dumb question. So ask. And in this business, you want to be able to have somebody you can call on to prevent you from making a mistake. Mm-hmm. Not only for you and your license, but for your client.
Right. That other person on the end of the transaction that you're representing is something that is, I think, like a sense of pride. Like I feel prideful. But yeah, definitely, as a new agent, you have to be careful and make sure that you have that mentor.
Yeah. And again, that's what I say, be coachable. You don't have all the answers.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's huge.
You don't even have all the questions yet.
That's huge. So, new agent listening to this podcast, how do they get in touch with you?
They can contact me anytime, miltonandassociates.com, or you can reach me direct at 954-629-9952, or call the office. Zuli will pick up as well. Zuli is my right hand. She has been with us for over a decade. I don't want to count the years because I don't want to date myself, but she's fantastic. I always say she really cares and wants to make sure that you understand what you're doing as well. So it's not just me, but it's also my team. And the office number is 954-558-9427, or reach us here. Information below.